Making a Murderer,
Netflix.
And chill. Hey there, welcome to Netflix and Chill, the segment where we check out Netflix original programming and tell you all about it to see, maybe you want to check it out as well. Of course, you need the Netflix streaming service, and we are in Canada, so what we can see may not be the same as what you can see. But hey, them's the breaks, right? A lot of you get a lot of stuff we can't get, so deal with it. And when I say we, normally Leslie is with me, but today we are checking out some anime. That's right, some Netflix original anime. And Leslie isn't into anime, so she bowed out of watching this one. So it's all me here. Just got my ugly mug to look at today for this particular video. Sorry, I do apologize. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about Knights of Sidonia. Yes, an anime. Pretty cool, pretty cool, pretty cool. Now, this was originally obviously Japanese, so it would have been known as Sidonia no Kishi, and it was originally a manga, which was then turned into an anime. So it was broadcast on television in Japan. As far as I know, it hasn't been broadcast on television anywhere outside of Japan, so I guess that's how the Netflix original comes around, because they are the ones who have the rights to it and are essentially broadcasting it, I believe, on all of their streaming platforms, regions, or whatever you want to call them. So you should be able to check it out. It's how would you characterize it? It's a mecha anime, so giant robots, or not even giant robots, but robot anime. And in this series, humanity is essentially in space on sort of like an arc, the Sidonia. So that's where you get the Sidonia, and it's got a bunch of soldiers who pilot the mecha. There's the knights. That's for the Knights of Sidonia, and they have to deal with something they called a Ghana, which are like parasitic aliens, which essentially attack, envelope, and mutate the things that they touch, and they're constantly you think of it like Battlestar Galactica, as Sidonia would be the Battlestar Galactica, and the Ghana would be the Cylons attacking it, kind of, but not the same, obviously. There's no robots in Battlestar. That's where the similarities, I guess, end. But yeah, the story is set in like the year 30, almost 3400, late 33s. I don't know. It sort of jumps around a little bit. So, but it's 1,000 years after the fact that mankind has left the Earth, because it was destroyed by the Ghana, and so they're kind of fleeing. And they have, just like in Battlestar Galactica, there's a fleet of ships, right? But the Sidonia is, like I said, the Battlestar, essentially. And there's a lot of stuff going on here. It is in the future, so there are aspects of asexuality, cloning of giant robots, genetic engineering, and oddly enough, humans don't eat. or don't need to eat. They actually eat by photosynthesis, which is odd because they're out in space. So you would, if they were going to be doing that, you'd think they'd need to be near a sun or something pretty often. But I guess when they're not there, I guess they can eat when they're not close to a sun. But anyways, they do have hydroponics and stuff going on, so I guess that's how they get it. They don't really go into that too much. Just that photosynthesis is something that they can do, and so there are lots of scenes where people are just looking at whatever star or something like that they happen to be near, and they're just essentially going, "Oh, I'm eating, right? Like I'm photosynthesizing," and in this particular group, the leaders are apparently have the key to immortality, and they sort of control everything. So you have this conspiracy stuff going on. You have these aliens attacking, which are all very, I don't know, like I said, parasitic. Picture like parasites under a microscope and stuff like that, and then blow that up to attack a giant spaceship. And that's kind of what you have going on. And of course, if they touch you, they can sort of like draw you in and use your biomatter and even your I guess whatever your thoughts are and stuff like that. They can control you. Yeah, they just whatever they touch, they sort of take in. Not unlike the Thing, like the alien in the Thing, similar to that actually with the way they look and blah blah blah. But yeah, so the robots are fighting these things. They're out in space and they're shooting them, and there's a hotshot pilot. Of course, there's always a main character, a hotshot, right? Somebody who has a tendency to have skills that are higher than the rest. And I don't know why, but this guy's obviously a brilliant statistician, strategist. Just can compute things in his head, and he has been living. What was it? He was living underground, and he was training on a simulator, and this is how he knows how to fight and use all these robots. And so he just sort of jumps in there and is able to take over, being the best and essentially the person they rely on. And his name is Nagate Tanizaki. Tanizake. Nagate. Guess you gotta say it in the proper Japanese, right? But it's odd because he's an odd character, and obviously there's more to his backstory, but you don't really get a lot of that in this first season, which it's there. It's hinted at like repeatedly that there's something more to this guy, and they keep sending him out, and obviously he's the best. So, but I mean, there's instances where he's like should be in the hospital, and they're like, send him out, and it's just like, seriously, like, yes, he eventually wins the day, but it's like, why are you sending out the guy? Like, send everybody else out. But honestly, it seems like everybody else is like a red shirt. They're just like cannon fodder. And it's constantly going on about how many pilots they've lost in the recent battle, and it's like, oh my god, all our they call them guards, those are the knights. Guard reserves are downed, and it's so funny because nobody seems to have any skills, man. Like, it's like they're sending them out without any real training. That they're just send them in there and tell them how to shoot a gun or something like that, and that's all they know. They don't really have any real instincts, it seems. So yeah, red shirts, very much red shirts. But yeah, that's essentially it. It. I would like to say that it has a big story arc that comes from beginning goes to the end, and it does have a beginning. It is a very much an origins story as a season, but it doesn't really have an ending. The big ending is that a giant, essentially hive ship of Ghana comes after them, and they have a giant battle with it. And normally, all their tactics that they've used previously just don't work on this one, and so they throw everything they have at it, and that's the conclusion of the first season. But you know that there's obviously more to it, because you haven't learned about Nagare and his enough of his past and what's going on there, and the immortals and the politics and the yeah, there's so much of it that's all totally hinted at and developed but never followed through on. So that clearly that the show has to go on. And yes, there is a season 2, but that's for another review. So would I recommend Knights of Sidonia? If you are into anime and you like it to be mostly straightforward, then I would say this is definitely up your alley. If you're more into the ones that are very artsy and not straightforward, have a very weird sense, because a lot of anime is just really weird, and doesn't have a linear story so much as a story that jumps all over the place and can often be hard to follow, very hard to follow sometimes. If that's your book, if that's what you love, this isn't really for you. This is more of those who are into Gundam, or Robotech would be a good comparison, kind of. I guess it's different enough, but there's still things that are the same. So it's familiar enough, but at the same, there's still enough of a difference to it to make it slightly original, but not completely. So yeah, not sure what you're looking for. If you're looking for something completely original, this is not for you. But most mech anime really isn't original, is it? It is the same old. But yeah, I still enjoyed it. I thought the characters were decent. Voice acting is good. Animation was fantastic. I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to season 2. So there you go. Yeah, I don't want to give too much away about it because there's so much more I could go into, but to do so would ruin some things and give away too much. But Battlestar Galactica, that's the best thing. Put some robots, Gundam robots, into the Battlestar Galactica universe, change the Cylons into parasitic alien type things, and there you go. Anyways, let me know if you've watched Knights of Sidonia. Comment down below. Keep it spoiler free. Thanks for watching. Till next video, take care. Have a good one.